Hi, Nick here of MedTech World, looking to be sitting beside Jacqueline Van Druten with
From CLIN-r.
CLIN-r. Great. You were talking to me about the clinical document.
Yes, the Clinical Development Plan. It's one of the new documents in the document suites that you will see in the EU MDR. And I think it's a worthwhile document to highlight. There's a lot of excitement as we are here, but there's definitely a lot of nerves. And there's all this talk about all the documentation needed, pitch decks, etc. And I do think the Clinical Development Plan, as it's being used, it's not a new concept. It's something that we've borrowed from biotechnology and pharma. And this is the way that they, from the get-go, when they have a concept or an idea, or they've seen a clinical need in the market, that they go and they look and they align their messaging, and also all the work that you need to do from clinical trials straight through to regulatory, and then the exciting part of actually being in market, dominating it. And maybe you see other indications, how they align that and not duplicate work. So the Clinical Development Plan, why it's not as well known in the MedTech world is it's been mainly placed in the pharma umbrella. But in a short way, it's kind of a skeletal structure of how you will develop the whole life cycle of your device. It touches on all the aspects of whether you're pre-seed, some of the messages you will be asked, like if you go to the JP Morgan investment groups, they will ask you about what clinical need are you addressing. And the problem is, if you answer that question, you're only going to get more and more questions. So the CDP, as we short call it, is a bare bone structure that as you evolve and as the questions become more specific and complex and granular, it will show you the road how to flay that open. And also a way of not getting overwhelmed. If you're asked all these questions, there's a lot of things down the line that you might need to know, or just know as a fact now, that it will highlight to you as a CEO. Or even if you look at from the investor's point of view, it will align you with that talk that you're going to have with all these stakeholders in the market.
How exactly do you work with these companies in order to help them align? You talk them through how to work the plan, or are you engage with them? Is it a long, lengthy process?
So like I mentioned before, it's where you are in the stage of your journey. So when we start engaging, whether it's an investor that wants us to evaluate a device or an investment, or get more insights on what we call the state of the art, like what is currently available in the market, we will address the needs there. But if you're a startup, when we start the process, we give you that bare bones. And we do it in a very kind of just a succinct overview, as to not get overwhelmed, but that you can see that this is a very long journey that you're going into. And as you find yourself through that journey, you will identify certain parts of the clinical development plan that suddenly you're getting questions on. And it will highlight what you need to think of and how you can extend some of the terms. I'll give you an example. If you have an indication for a device, you will say, well, we do ablations for endometrial conditions. But in general, what we do is ablations. That would be the indication in the FDA. But if you go to other jurisdictions in the world, they will call it different things. Europe has an extended battery of terms that they want you to define. So you got the intended purpose, the intended use, etc. The CDP will then help that person to kind of say, well, we indicated for this, but if we had to translate it to Europe, this is what it looks like. So you don't have any sweat on your brow. If you get asked that, you can quickly go to the bare bones structure and start completing that section to align you with the terminology of that area. It gives investors confidence that you will be able to cope with the jargon going into different areas, but you as an innovator, you stay true to what your innovation is, and you start talking the jargon of wherever part of the journey you're in, whether you are looking for distributors, that you need a service level agreement, you are looking at economic operators. It gives you that jargon that you can immediately self-explain what needs to be done. We help manufacturers from the early stage to the late stage. We do the documentation work, but we create it around your device, that you can see your true kind of clinical indications and things, that it stands out, and it just grows your confidence that we lean all the terminology and all the processes. We show you how your unique device gets through the process.
And do you find that this is difficult for some people in order to adopt this, the jargon, to be able to think on these levels, when sometimes the entrepreneur is an engineer, maybe they're a salesperson? You help them align.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a good saying now in business, it's not the hows, it's the whys. And innovators come from the hows that is extremely technical, and that's why there's a breakthrough. Like, this is not an easy concept, and that kind of know-how is very specific. So it's to enable them to still be good with this competitive space that they have now been able to capture. But translate that to different audiences. So when you're talking to an investor, there might be some overlap with what the regulators want. If you are talking to get it to market and you're talking to clinicians, there might be overlap in that. But you will come from the engineering background and your innovation, that maybe the technicality and the real novelty of your device isn't very clear. So what we help is, I like to see it as a translation service. You stay true with what you are really good at, but you just can see it from the point of view from all the various stakeholders as you go through your commercialization journey.
Wonderful. So you'll be educating people at the event today on this. What specifically, what are the reasons, or how about you and this event? What are you looking for?
So for me, it's always a lot of interest of what is the innovation. So there I'm not the what or the how. So I like to see what new technology is coming in. You see sometimes very novel materials like nanotechnology, or you're seeing sustainability creep into MedTech. And for me to be at these events is to see how people are using these challenges in the market, like let's say sustainability, and they're actually making it their differentiating feature of a product. Or they are seeing these challenges and they're actually using it as opportunities. So to be at these events, for me, I love to see what is the progress that technology is taking, what is the new things that are on the market. So I'm really looking forward to delving into the innovations that are here, and kind of help them just see beyond, like, the true reasons why they're here is to get good solutions to people like you and I, general society. So I'm looking forward to seeing that, but also having the conversation to simplify, to say, this is where you're at. These are the things that you need to know. And here's the overview of when you're going to have different conversations to get to your next step. And who's the people down the line that you can stay true to being an innovator, but the other who's will come in to help you through that journey. So I'm hoping to spend a bit more time on the innovation, and just kind of calm and settle some nerves and give some overview of this. The journey should not be as intimidating as it looks from the outside.
Brilliant. Jacqueline, I hope the people who need to find you, and you have it all here at the event.
Thank you so
from
much,
CLIN-r.
Nicholas.